has been very vocal and very clear that the City Council has come to the table to put in our fair share for the arts and culture community, and it is time for this administration to step up. I want to thank my colleagues that are here, that you'll hear from in a second, but most importantly, the advocates, the staff, the people that make up these incredible institutions and groups who work day in and day out deserve this funding, and they deserve it now. We're fighting in coalition against an austerity budget. Together we have secured a partial restoration, but we are going to be very clear and that we need $53 million in restoration. We need the mayor to restore these funds now. How can we cut arts and culture when it's not only linked to better mental health, but it generates an outsized economic output of $110 billion annually? With that revenue, we can do so many things. And we have to make sure that we are supporting the families who are also working inside of these buildings, the students that are dependent on this programming in their schools because they do not have a full-time arts teacher. People come here from all over the world to enjoy our arts and culture institutions, and our schools and our education spaces deserve the arts that this revenue can't afford. So why make these cuts? That's our question today. The mayor says unapologetically that this is the greatest city in the world and that our cultural appeal is second to none. And we agree with him wholeheartedly. But he cannot, in the same afternoon of making these comments or visiting one of our beloved institutions, then go back to his desk and slash the very budget that supports and sustains this sector. As reported this morning, you can save the arts for the price of a police helicopter. So I will say that we can go into the negotiating room and have a fair and reasonable budget that does not cut arts and culture. It just doesn't make any sense. Our negotiations with the administration are prioritizing the vital investments we need as we fight for a balanced budget that invests equitably in every community. So with that, I want to go to some of my colleagues that are here and, of course, the people that are fighting day in and day out. Let's start with Council Member Gale Brewer.
Hey, Gale. Culture for all. What do we need? Culture for all. What do we need? Culture for all. What do we need? Culture for all.
Thank you very much, Carlina Rivera, for your steadfast leadership. And I've seen Carlina Rivera in her community. She loves the arts. I want to be very, very clear. And I want to reiterate what she said. For the price of a police helicopter, New York could save the arts. Yes. That is an unbelievable fact. I want to also state today, we're all going to graduations. I had 4, I got 3 more to go. And I would say when I was at PS 452 today and you saw 4th and 5th graders, 30 of them totally immersed in the band with an amazing music teacher, you know that that is the right thing to fund, Mr. Mayor. Arts education now.
Yes.
As you heard from the chair, City Council is asking $53 million. It's not that much in a budget of $111.62 billion. Right. That we've had the same baseline for years. Yes. In fact, if we don't change it, it'll be the same as 2000 year, 24 years ago. That's how much this mayor thinks about the arts. New York's cultural institutions enrich our communities. They are crucial to making us a world-class city. They create jobs. They have a vital role in the economy. They attract tourism. If you think tourists are going to come to New York City without the arts, forget it. And they increase the economic activity in our neighborhoods. Carlina Rivera's Lower East Side, they love the arts. Yeah. The mayor's budget restored just a small amount, 7.6, left $53 million in cuts in place, destabilizing organization, threatening jobs and programming, forcing these wonderful organizations to operate with deficits. The council is committed to restore these funds. I want to thank our chair of the finance committee, Justin Brennan. He plays the guitar or something. And so he really understands. He really cares about the arts. No kidding. I don't know what he does, but he does. The mayor must recognize the value of our institutions. Culture is the heartbeat of the city.
That's right.
$100 billion in revenue just from the arts.
Right.
13% of our city's economy is from the arts, Mr. Mayor. And during the pandemic, who were the first institutions to step up to make sure that there was vaccination spaces? Thank you, American Museum of Natural History and many others. For every dollar allocated to the SIGs, organizations attract at least $3 in private donations. That is an RIR of 300% return on investment. This sector is a major employer. The SIG institutions employ just by themselves almost 16,000 full and part-time staff, 5,800 of whom are union members. And unfortunately, under the Cultural Development Fund, 80% of those small organizations got cuts. What's wrong with you, Mr. Mayor? So, we know also, per the IBO, don't forget the libraries, Department of Social Services, the Parks Department, youth programs. They also fund the arts. If you cut them, you're also cutting the arts. So they're getting double cuts. Dollars for tourism, they haven't come back in the same numbers, so we need to have the arts to attract them. And we have 600 arts organizations in 22 in the schools, but it's going down because the federal dollars are not there, so we need the funding. New York's cultural institutions are in all the neighborhoods. They're all different kinds, from the People's Theater to Lincoln Center. They have free or discounted admissions. They have public school programs. They have services for seniors and those who need with disabilities. They serve hundreds of thousands of New York City schools with programs and cultural enrichment. Guess what, Mr. Mayor? No cuts to the culturals.
No cuts! 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 All right, well, you heard a little bit about what's at stake here. The Lower East Side was mentioned. This is why I proudly represent Manhattan communities. You know, we have had, of course, artists like Keith Haring and Jean-Michel Basquiat who have enduring appeal today. We have institutions like the School of Visual Arts. You have hip-hop that was born in the Bronx. You have salsa in our streets. Ballet and dance are anchors to our identity. All of the artists in residence, the arts education, it is all dependent on this funding. I want you to hear from some of the advocates who have really stepped up day in and day out, been advocating every single day to ensure that we get this money. We understand how critical this is to our economy, our official bounce back, our recovery from the pandemic. It's so important. First, let's start with New Yorkers for Arts and Culture and the inimitable Lucy Sexton, please.
First, I want to thank Councilmember Rivera, Councilmember Brewer, Schulman, Justin Brannon, the head of our Finance Committee. Your support is everything. Thank you so much. Thank you to Speaker Adams for calling this together. There are 1,800 cultural organizations in New York City. They provide 278,000 programs that serve 307 million attendees. And get this, 77% of those attendees attend for free. The mayor was rightly boasting about this. All the free programming in New York. You cannot have free programming without public support. Cultural organizations are fragile. The average cultural organization in New York City has only a month and a half of operating capital on hand. Cultural organizations in the Bronx, for instance, that serve lower wealth communities depend on city funding for 26% of their budget. So when, as Gale tells you, that 80% of the folks who applied for the Cultural Development Fund got cut or got zeroed out altogether, I am telling you that is a crisis. Programs are being cut. Organizations are closing. Theaters are cutting back how many shows they're doing. What does that mean? It means there's less dance classes for youth to do after school. It means there's less shows bringing vibrancy to our streets. It means there's less storytelling workshops for our seniors. This is a disaster. New York City is culture. It is not only a no-brainer for the economy, as Gale was saying, best return on investment, but it is a no-brainer for what we want to be as a city. We want mental health. We want good education outcomes. We want safe streets. This is what arts and culture brings to every neighborhood in New York City, and we do it for so little. Please invest in arts and culture so that we can be the thriving, vibrant, welcoming city that we deserve to be. Thank you.
Culture and arts!
Our kids need
Culture and arts!
Seniors need
Culture and arts!
We need
Culture and arts!
All right. We've also talked a lot about cultural institutions and groups. They are across the city. And we have a very special group that is led by an incredible woman, Coco Killingsworth of the Brooklyn Academy of Music.
Yep. Hello, everybody. I don't need this mic. Hello, everybody. I also want to say thank you to Councilmember Joseph and Councilmember Narcisse, who are out here sweating it out today, sweating it out for culture. Look, I'm hot. I'm not just hot in temperature. I'm hot because we're out here again this year in a rally to bring our worth forward to this city. I'm hot because I'm tired of having to demonstrate our worth over and over again. I'm hot even though there is a group of seniors at BAM right now sitting in the movie theater at BAM for free seeing movies. They're cool.
Yep.
They're taken care of. They've got their free popcorn and Coke because we value the seniors in our community. We show up for them. That's what our cultural institutions do. We're not just here for tourists. We're here for workers. We're here for jobs. We're here for seniors. We're here for students. We're here so that New Yorkers can thrive and feel cool and connected to culture and each other. But instead, we're out here being hot. We're being tired. We're being bothered with having to remind the admin that culture matters. Now, I know that everybody here that's here for culture, that works in culture, knows how much we matter, right?
Yeah.
We know how important we are. I clearly know that the city council knows how much we matter because, look, they're out here with us. And I really do think that the mayor and the administration knows, but he might have forgot. Mm-hmm. So we're giving him a reminder that culture slays all day. You have to remember that in order for us to be doing the work that we do, we need to be stable. We can't be out here all day, all summer, all year asking for funds that just keep us basic. We need to be even better than that. We're asking for $53 million to keep us whole. $53 million, no less. Do we want less than that? No. Can we accept any less than that? No. Any less than that is a cut on our future. Any less than that is a cut to programs that we can give. Any less than that is our one less theater, one less program for seniors, one less senior program for young people. So no less than 53. We know our council is fighting with us. This is an important moment. We know this council wants to be about the cultural future, that this is all of our legacy, that our young people don't have to be out here sweating it out like us, right? We want a future that slays for them, not slays budget cuts, not slays budgets, right? We want to slay the future, not slay the budgets, right? Am I wrong?
Yes.
I am never wrong. All right, so thank you so much. This rally is incredibly important. I want to thank you all, to our city council for really, and our chair for just being the culture and bringing not just herself, but generations of her family to all of our institutions and believing in who we are. This is the kind of power that we bring when we come together. This is who we are. Slay all day, no cuts to culture, 53 and no less. Thank you.
Okay.
They say cut back.
We say fight back.
They say cut back.
We say fight back.
Cut back.
Fight back.
Cut back.
Fight back.
Fight back.
Fight back. Fight back. Fight back. Woo! All right. Well, a little bit of what these organizations bring. You know, at any point you could walk into these organizations and have an experience, right? Our seniors are right now at the Brooklyn Academy of Music. Not too long ago, I brought my own neighbors to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Some of them for the first time. They spent their whole lives here in New York City, had never been to the museum. Your toddler can interact and learn about live animals at the American Museum of Natural History.
Yay!
And that is fabulous. You can also walk into a public school and see 5th graders and 6th graders dancing to different cultural pieces of music and works of art, all because of the not-for-profit groups. Many of them are behind me. That experience is something that will live with that student and that person for the rest of their life, just seeing it, hearing it, and experiencing it. So I want to bring Kimberly Olson up, the New York City Arts and Education Roundtable Executive Director.
Great. Thank you so much, and thank you for the cool. Yes. Thank you, thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Kimberly Olson, and I am so proud to be the Executive Director of the New York City Arts and Education Roundtable. I'm here to say that culture for all is a necessity here in New York City. Access to arts education in particular is critical for our city's 1 million public school students across all 5 boroughs. The research could not be clearer. Improved mental health, boosted academic outcomes, increased parent engagement, increased civic participation. Preparing our students for the future, it all starts with the arts. However, since 2020, our schools have lost a staggering 425 certified arts teachers. That's almost 15% of all full-time arts teachers. Our chancellor has said that these incredible cultural organizations fill the gap for those schools, but I would argue they do so much more. More than 600 arts organizations partnered with schools last year to provide arts instruction, field trips, helping them meet state learning requirements, and even sharing resources and funding with schools. These partnerships also mean critical jobs for artists, providing income streams that enabling them to live and work in New York City, thus making it the vibrant cultural capital that we know today. Yet, if this proposed $53 million cut goes through, we are putting all of that in jeopardy. Our future cultural leaders, museum goers, graphic designers, audience members, arts leaders, musicians, city council members are all sitting in our New York City classrooms waiting for that spark and passion for the arts to be ignited, one that will last a lifetime. We need to do more for our cultural organizations, for our arts teachers, for our students, because they depend on us. If lawmakers and our mayor do not step up, we threaten the education and workforce opportunities for thousands of New Yorkers. Please restore and baseline that $53 million cut to the Department of Cultural Affairs and guarantee at least every school has access to a certified arts teacher. Thank you.
All right, well. Okay, and then you're going. All right. Well, you heard about students, right, and how important arts is in education. I see a Keith Haring shirt right now, and so I'm reminded the first time I learned who it was. And I remember thinking to myself, oh, I've seen that mural at Carmine Pool. There is just so many corners and interesting places here in New York City that are reflective and emblematic of the talent, the unrivaled talent that we foster and bring here to New York City. And so there is some talent behind me, I've heard. Our chair of finance, he's done other things. But he's also leading in negotiations and ensuring that arts and culture remains a priority. And with that, I want to bring up the chair of finance, Council Member Justin Brannon.
Thank you. Thank you, Carlina. I want to give a shout out, first of all, to the guy wearing the lion suit today. You think it's hot out here. We're going to really turn up the heat when we start negotiating the rest of this budget.
Yeah, that's right.
Look, What Carlina is saying is true. We both grew up here in the city, and now we're all grown up and fancy we're politicians, right? We still care about the same stuff that we cared about growing up. And that's why it's so damn important, because we know what it meant to us as kids in our formative years, growing up. When I was taking the art train from Bay Ridge to the Village when I was a kid to get my culture. That's what it was all about. But what's New York? I had to get it imported. Yeah. But what's New York City without culture? It's nothing. The reason why we've been fighting so hard, and we know that we can restore these cuts, is because the city economy has proven to be durable and resilient. Even as the rest of the state and the rest of the country is still sputtering, New York City's economy is strong. Do you know why it's strong? Because people want to come here for the culture. The reason why we have the money to restore these cuts is because of all these special things that New York City has to offer. So you can't talk about how great New York City is and then defund all the stuff that makes New York City great. The cultural sector in this city has not gotten a real increase since 2009. 2009 was a million years ago, okay? This year we're holding the line. We need $53 million, and we're going to fight like hell until we get it, okay? Thank you.
What do we need? Culture for all. What do we need? Culture for all. What do we need? Culture for all.
All right. I want to bring up the chair of education and a fighter, Rita Joseph.
All right. What do we need? Culture for all. What do we need? Culture for all. What do we need? Culture for all.
Thank you, Chair Rivera. I can't say it enough. We knew that cultural institution was the lifeline, especially during COVID. They stepped up. They opened their doors. They serve our seniors, our students. Yes, you did. And then you pivoted and started doing food distribution. No other place was doing that. And now there is no reason why we are here again in the hot sun fighting for the very same thing we were fighting for last year. We're asking for one thing. Give them what they need. And what do you need? What do you need? That's right. What do you need? That's right. That's loud and clear from the and you link it right. Mental health, students, our older New Yorkers, all of them depend on cultural institution. Give them what they need, and what they need is $53 million. There you go.
All right, we've mentioned our not-for-profit partners who are incredible every single day, not just during the school year, but during the summer as well. I want to bring up Judith Insel, Director of Bronx Arts Ensemble. Is that yours, Coco?
Okay, I'm very hot, as Coco said, for many reasons. All I could think today when I was coming down here is, once again, I am down here to beg for money for institutions that are doing the good work of serving the communities of this entire city. So I'm going to start with a statement that I put together for a press release. Bronx Arts Ensemble has struggled to deal with the challenges of being zeroed out of funding from the Department of Cultural Affairs Cultural Development Fund this year. I said we were zeroed out. Over the past 52 years, we have endured the Bronx burning, stock market crashes, 9/11, and a global pandemic. But we will likely not survive another year without CDF funding. Any thoughts of lowering the New York City allocations for funds to the cultural development funds must cease at this moment. The conversation should be about getting to the $53 million mark and more. We actually need more. How about increasing the allocation to at least 1% of the New York City budget in fiscal 2025? So this is a sad fact that we all know as organization leaders. We are not even at 1% of the budget each year, over and over. So we want to ensure that we can keep doing our work. We actually want to thrive, not try to survive, because we are all here to serve the citizens of New York. I am a native New Yorker. I am born and raised Bronxite. I was, as Kim mentioned, trained to be a professional musician, and that started in my public school. Yes. And I have gone on to lead this institution proudly that is, even today, in the hot weather, going to be out in Pelham Bay Park to give a free concert to our constituents. We go out into the parks, we go out into our venue partners, and all of our performances are free. And as said before, how do we put 30 performances on a year without support from the Cultural Development Fund? That's right. So we had to cut back on our programming this year. We thank the city council members that actually helped us to survive with their allocations. But this is not the way that our founders decided that they would help the Bronx. And I'm sure that any of the founders of any of the institutions behind me had no thoughts that every year that they would have to calm down and beg for money for us to serve the communities all over New York City with arts and culture, which is vital to each person in this city. Please raise it to $53 million and beyond so we can continue to do our work. Thank you.
Thank you. Culture and arts. 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 New York City needs culture and arts.
All right, well, you have heard, the artists in this city, they're trendsetters in literature and visual arts and performance arts. They're always creating, they're always expanding. And we have had these incredible movements start here in New York City as well, the Harlem Renaissance, just to name a few. And in places like the Bronx, there are tremendous things happening in every single borough. It's arts and culture institutions and groups. It is our zoos, as you've heard. I'm planning on taking my family to one in the next week or so. Proudly a WCS member as well. Thank you. Okay. And also our gardens. Yeah. We need to ensure that we are funding the work that is being done in our beautiful botanic gardens across the city. Amen. So I want to bring up Jennifer Bernstein from New York Botanical Gardens to say a few words.
Yes. Thank you so much. It's so great to be here talking to you all about the importance of baselining $53 million and doing it with the strong support of the New York City Council. As a Bronx anchor institution representing New York City's greenest borough, we applaud you and your leadership team for your unwavering support. Majority Leader Amanda Farias, Deputy Speaker Diana Ayala, Finance Chair Justin Brannon, Cultural Affairs Chair Carlina Rivera, and our entire Bronx delegation. Thank you. Your voices, informed by the communities that we serve, could not be stronger. At NYBG, one of the 5 botanical gardens, this is a city that has a botanical garden in every borough. We are a world-class city because of these institutions. And our institution, like so many of the institutions represented here today, we welcome more than 1 million visitors a year. We teach tens of thousands of school children every year, and we are an essential economic engine for the borough of the Bronx, a force multiplier in our community. Like so many of our peer institutions, what we do for New York is predicated on the historic public-private partnership that has made New York City the cultural capital of the world. And the cultural community has achieved this standing on a shoestring budget. Even before the mayor's cuts, city funding to DCLA amounted to less than 0.25% of the city's adopted budget. The return on that investment is in the billions. Restoring and baselining $53 million before July 1st is just the first step. We must get to a place where we are no longer talking about cuts to economic drivers and community anchors, but how to invest more in arts and culture for the benefit of all New Yorkers. That is what the great civic leaders of the past did for this city, and we can do it again together. Culture for all.
All right.
Culture for all. What do we want? Culture for all.
And you heard, we are not asking for anything that isn't owed. Nope. These are funds that we deserve. We are asking to be made whole. We have had institutions that have closed for weeks on end, that have had to lay off their staff, close their doors and not be open every single day. That is not why people come to New York City. We want to walk into these spaces and hear this music, pop up a picnic at a free performance. That takes work from the people behind us, and they deserve to be funded. I want to bring up another colleague of mine. I also want to recognize Shauna Brewer was here, council member. Thank you, council member Crystal Hudson. I want to bring up council member Mercedes Narcisse, who is fighting hard at the negotiating table.
Oh! Good afternoon, everybody. I was waiting for the beat because coming from Haiti, I had to get the beat and the drum because that's what we believe in, culture. Around my house, everybody have a sense of culture. Today, I can tell you that I have one in my house that graduated from Juilliard. That's a drama performer and a writer. And her script, look out for her, Brittany Narcisse. Juilliard believe in her, and I believe in her. So, my brothers and sisters, we cannot afford not having the heartbeat, like Gale was saying, in New York City. I used to spend days in different places, different spaces in New York City. Every time I have a chance, I have to be in a museum. We know what culture does. You don't have to spend money to go and enjoy the city of New York. What is the New York City without culture in it? We need that $53 million cut to restore ASAP now. These institutions are vital. They enrich our lives and drive our economy. You heard it. They create jobs, attract tourists, and boost local businesses. The mayor's budget is not talking about it, but we are here to talk about it. I wish I can be telling the mayor, can you imagine going to New York City without Broadway? You cannot imagine that. This is what we're known for. And I'm saying every day I'm in the school building, I'm making sure our kids have culture. Because culture makes you whole. It makes you who you are. Yes. You can express yourself. Yes. You can talk about things. So it is important. It's not, some folks think that it's just an add up. No, without culture, you're not whole. So I'm asking Mayor, make us whole again in New York City. So thank you for all the advocates. I know my sister from Khaki. Oh, somebody give me the drum.
All right. I'm glad you mentioned that little show called the Tony Awards, because I just want everyone to think about when you see these shows that are on Broadway, when you see Stereophonic winning Best Play, when you hear about Suffs winning a Tony Award and Merrily We Roll Along, all of those pieces started in local theaters like Playwrights Horizon, The Public, and New York Theater Workshop on 4th Arts Block, which is over 70 organizations on one street between 2nd Avenue and the Bowery. This city is incredible and it needs arts and culture. I want to bring up Crystal Hudson to say a few words.
And Bam in the house. Coco's,
I know. Coco always reps hard. But not only do I have BAM in my district, I have the Brooklyn Museum in my district. I have the Brooklyn Botanic Garden in my district. I have Brick in my district. I have 651 Arts in my district. I have Mokata in my district. And I could go on and on and on because all of the amazing cultural institutions of Brooklyn are in my district.
Right.
A few outside my district, but most are in my district. And some we share. But really, I want to say, just repeat everything that my colleagues have said, and also note the fact that the cultural institutions are the ones that had to shut down first during the pandemic. And they're the ones that opened last as we were coming out of the pandemic. They have not yet fully recovered from those years. And what the mayor is doing by not restoring their full budget and then even adding on top of that, but I'm just going to talk about the restorations for now.
Yes.
Is he is setting them up for failure. He is preventing them the opportunity to continue to contribute to New York City's economy in the way that they always have. And so the council is out here with all of these institutions demanding the money that they need to remain whole and to give us the culture that we have always received from these institutions. They're doing that even without the money, regardless, because that is their mission. That is what they are committed to doing, but it's not easy. And they can't do it that way forever without the funds that they need. So we're out here standing in support and solidarity with all of our cultural institutions to say, make us whole, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
What do we want? What do we want?
We say fight back.
We say fight back. We say fight back.
Fight back.
Fight back.
Fight back.
Fight back.
Fight back.
Fight back. Fight back. Fight back.
All right. Let's hear from West Jackson Brick Arts Media President. Yeah, West.
All right. Give thanks. It's an honor to be here with my colleagues and so many supporters, the great Crystal Hudson and Rita Joseph, who we work with. It's hot out here. I don't want to repeat too much, but this is common sense. At core, I'm a businessman. Supporting the arts puts money into the city. It keeps people off the street. It keeps people safe. We know what the city looks like if we go away. Anybody want to rewind to that summer of 2020? It ain't the same place. So let's stop playing. Right? We are important. We are critical to the daily operation of the city. We bring money to the city. And people want to talk about public safety. We haven't heard a lot about that. Here at Brick, we live in that intersectionality. And we're here to support everybody from our sister Coco and 651 and Mokata, all of our neighbors. We're here to support everybody. But you know what happens when people are working on their play or they're working on their video shoot or they're writing a script? They're not in the streets doing mischief, right? When I got a 7 a.m. call time, I'm thinking twice about going out at night and doing something that my mama told me I'm not supposed to do. So get them back. The arts keep us safe. It keeps us alive, and it generates money. $53 million, less than 1%. What are we doing? Right? Give us the money. We deserve it. It's a good ROI. It's a good investment in the city. And I'm proud to be out here to advocate with all these wonderful people. So let's keep fighting. Let's make sure we understand that this is important. Art is not just a luxury for rich people to put paintings up on their walls. Right? It is a social service that activates the inner genius inside of us all. And if it wasn't for art, I'm an old hip hop guy. If it wasn't for people coming out of NYCHA houses, making beautiful art, I wouldn't be here today. So let's energize that next generation and keep on fighting. Give thanks.
I just want to say that again, that arts and culture is a social service. That is absolutely true. And when you are doing well, when you feel mentally well, you want other people to prosper. You want your neighborhood to look beautiful. You want to create. We cannot have these expectations that artists will create no matter the funding. That is not fair. They have to be supported. And we need this funding. We need it to be whole. I want to bring up Paul Leonard to close this out, say some few words. Let me just talk about Paul for 1 second. Okay, he's going to tell you what he does. But it's so much more than a union representative and someone who works at a beautiful garden. Someone who is so informed. I took, on my grandmother's 89th birthday, we took her to the Brooklyn Botanic Garden. And we brought 4 generations of my family because we asked her, what do you want to do? And she said, I want to go to the Botanic Garden. And Paul was there to not just wish her a happy birthday, but to really tell us about the garden, its history, its services, and how anyone can walk in and have that same experience. Paul, take us home.
Thank you, thank you. We are culture.
Culture for all.
We are culture.
Culture for all.
We have culture.
Culture for all.
Sounds like a choir back here. Let's give our chairperson a big hand, you know. I have to tell you, I met her grandma, and if you think she's tough, her grandma is even tougher. I love this family. They are so involved in culture in New York City, and I thank you for, chairperson, your work. I am looking forward to working with you forever, actually. Hello, CIGs. I'm Lenny Paul. I represent members of Local 374 of District Council 37. And I'd like to beg your forbearance as I take you down memory lane a little bit. See, back in 1869, when I was around, no, don't put that in your press. The city's administration, along with the newly formed CIG, came up with this historical idea of constructing a building to house rare and historical artifacts. Today, that building is called the American Museum of Natural History. Later in the 1900s, the CIG established the Metropolitan Museum of Art, the New York Botanic Garden, the Wildlife Conservation Society, the Brooklyn Museum, the Brooklyn Children's Museum. And in 1910, this is where I worked, we opened the Brooklyn Botanic Garden. And we opened up the first children's garden in the entire world in a botanic garden. Wow. We, CIGs employ thousands of our members, of DC 37 members. They're all over the neighborhood. We have arts, history, and science museums, botanic gardens, performing arts centers, zoos and aquariums. You know, cultural institutions partner with many public and private schools, providing students with a well-deserved education in environmental science and learning about plants. The Bronx Zoo is the largest employer of young people that lives and work in the neighborhood. Let's give a shout out to the Bronx Zoo. It has been proven, guys, that cultural institutions are the economic drivers of the city's revenue source. Our museums and performing arts are top-notch. They're rated the highest among the world. Everybody comes to New York City to see our cultural institutions. We know that. We see them every single day. You know, friends, the CIG survives 2 world wars. The Vietnam War, the Afghanistan War, the Iraqi War. We survived a whole bunch of wars, but we are still here. And 2 pandemics. We are 34 institutions strong, right? Every mayor that I've known, right, they always say, oh, cultural institutions, they're bringing so much money for us. We are so happy to have them. But what happened? When it comes to our funding, you keep cutting our funding every single year. Why do we have to come here every single year to beg and plead for our funding? These folks have a job to do. They have workers to pay. They have to pay their benefits. They have to take care of their families. But we have to come and beg every single year. That is not fair, man. Mr. Mayor, hear me and hear me well. We are mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore. Folks, are you ready for a fight? Yeah! Are you willing to go down in battle? Yeah! From the boulders of the New York Botanic Garden to the blue whale of the American Natural History Museum, from the stages of Lincoln Center to the New York Halls of Science, from the Japanese garden of the Brooklyn Botanic Garden to the Staten Island Zoo, we are going to fight. As Churchill said, we will fight them on the beaches, on the land. We will never surrender. Let's keep fighting. We are culture.
Culture for all.
We are culture.
Culture for all.
We have culture.
Culture for all.
Give us our money, please.
All right, thank you. You heard Lenny. We have our ask is very, very clear. $53 billion. When there is a baseline, when there is an outsized economic input from these organizations, they protect our youth, they serve our seniors, and they do so much more than that. So when you're taking a walk on the High Line and seeing that installation by Nina Chanel Abney, when you see the facade of the Brooklyn Academy of Music, when there are kids dancing in the park based on what they learned inside their classroom, please remember that it is the people behind me that are making the future veterinarians and scientists and artists and dancers. So with that, we demand $53 million from the mayor's office, and we will continue to fight in coalition until we get what we need. With that, any questions? All right.
With respect to the libraries,
Yeah.
the mayor keeps saying that they should dip into their endowments. Can you speak to that? Why can't they, or why shouldn't they dip into their endowments?
I would say that ask we think is unfair. Right now, the city really does owe the libraries their fair share of funding. There is a dependency there. They should be providing 7 days of service to every single family across the boroughs, and we need them. Not only are we dependent on them for books, for learning spaces, but we also publicize them as cooling centers and the safety of families. So they deserve that city funding, and we should not have to ask for it every single year.
Amen.
Anything else?
The libraries actually can't, they're not allowed to even use their endowments for operating budget if they wanted to. And it's also, there's no other sector where if there were cuts that you would consider dipping into someone's endowment. So it's just a absurd suggestion.
That's right. Where are you hoping to get the money from?
Well, right now we're negotiating the city council along with the mayor's office to fully fund arts and culture as well as our libraries, and you'll hear more about that over the weekend. So we're really just looking to get $53 million baseline at the very least restored. We know that doing our analysis and with our incredible finance team that the money is there. And so we expect the mayor to come to the table and so we can pass something that's reasonable and fair, and we're very, very grateful to the leadership of our speaker.
Can you just say, when you say the money is there, can you say where?
You want to talk a little bit about it?
Sure.
The mayor not
It's in tax receipts, right? So the New York City economy over the past couple of months, certainly, our tax receipts have been outperforming even the most optimistic projections. So the money is there to restore these cuts, and we know it's there. It's just a matter of them. Everyone agrees with us except OMB, basically.
Also in the libraries, the mayor has often said that they chose to cut Sunday service and they made these choices. I guess what's your response to that argument?
You want to say something?
Yeah. It's cute, but basically for the peg that they needed to make, there was nowhere else for them to make the cut, right? They were already sort of bare bones as it is. So in order for them to come up with the cut that the mayor asked them to make, cutting service on Sundays where it's just more expensive to run a library on Sunday, it was all they could do. It was either that or fire people. So, that was the first thing to go, unfortunately.
And I would also say the money allocated is always very, very specific. Ask any one of these organizations. The paperwork that they have to fill out, the applications they have to submit, the details and the type of funding that they provide for the funds that actually come into their organization, it's specific. So that operating cost that these libraries are dependent on, it's really important that we come to the table and that we fund them. We do not want to go down a 5-day service. We certainly don't want to see fewer books on the shelves or less programming, and we want these facilities open 7 days a week. It's important to public safety and to our well-being, but also membership and participation is up. It doesn't make sense at this point to cut that or slash any one of these budgets.
Any questions on arts and culture?
All right. Well, I want to thank everyone. Thank you so much.